James Stewart wasn't just another actor who served in the military. He fought in a real war, dropped real bombs, watched real people die. And when he came back, Hollywood didn't give him a hero's welcome. They called him washed up. Stewart was the first big American movie star to enlist in World War II. Before Pearl Harbor, MGM tried to stop him. Didn't matter. His father fought in World War I. His grandfathers fought in the Civil War. This wasn't for PR. This was his duty. At the time, he was the youngest actor to ever win an Oscar, just 32 years old when he took home Best Actor for The Philadelphia Story. He could have stayed in Hollywood, made a fortune, played the war hero on screen. Instead, he joined the Army Air Forces. And they almost rejected him because he was 5 pounds underweight. He argued his way in anyway. He was already an experienced civilian pilot, so they made him a flight instructor. He didn't want that. He wanted real combat. They sent him to England. He flew 201 bombing missions over Nazi Germany, not sitting in a safe office, flying straight into enemy fire. He killed civilians. He watched friends die. And that's why he never talked about it, because he never forgave himself. Meanwhile, back at home, guys like John Wayne, who never set foot on a battlefield, became the face of American heroism. Wayne stayed home playing soldiers on screen while Stewart was actually out there fighting. And when Stewart came back, he was the one seen as outdated, too serious, too intense. Hollywood had moved on. Stewart's first big movie back was It's a Wonderful Life. People think of it as this warm, feel-good Christmas movie. But back in the 40s, it flopped. The movie had a budget of $3 million, but only made $3.3 million at the box office and ended up losing around $500,000, which was a significant financial failure at the time. Audiences just weren't ready for Stewart. He was different. He was suffering from PTSD, and it bled into his performance. There's a scene where George Bailey prays in a bar. Stewart wasn't acting. He actually broke down sobbing. That was real. The director left it in the final cut. Hollywood, though, they didn't care. They were still making war movies, big, flashy, patriotic. But Stewart hated Hollywood war movies. He thought most of them were garbage, completely inaccurate. That's why he only ever starred in 2, Strategic Air Command and The Mountain Road. He hated draft-age men who evaded military service during the Vietnam War, too. Stewart himself, even after returning to acting, never really left the military. He stayed in the Air Force Reserves, flew non-combat missions in Vietnam, and retired as a brigadier general, the highest-ranking actor in U.S. military history. And then came the worst part. His adopted son, Ronnie, was killed in Vietnam. James Stewart never bragged about his service. He never talked about it, but he carried it with him for the rest of his life. Hollywood gave medals to its fake heroes. The real ones, like Stewart, were left to deal with the cost.